So here in San Francisco Bay Area, during the La Nina year, which is this pretty much is a La Nina year, it's a weak one, but we've already had the winds. We usually get lots of wind, cold temperatures, and little rain. So far, we're right on target. We should get at least one more good windstorm. So we've heard this story so many times just this summer. How does it go? Let's see, 3 dead, 150 homes burned, thousands forced out of their home. I wonder what they're talking about. Yeah, it's fires in Australia, the bushfires as they're called. Unfortunately, because the weather is so much warmer than it used to be, the fires are acting completely different this year than any other year in the past. They're ferocious, they have almost like a mind of their own. They can jump huge distances now. They catch a wind miles away. They can land and start another fire. So that's how these fires are starting to grow so fast, is that they create their own wind and their own weather to their liking, and they just blow up with all this dry air and dry fuel laying and growing all over the place. As fires come along, they heat up the fuel in front of it, and it dries out, it flash dries, and then it becomes fuel as well. So it sort of feeds itself. The bigger it gets, the easier it is for it to feed itself. Okay, so this brings me kind of to my point here, is that as the temperatures go up, the fire will act completely different year to year. Fire needs 3 things to survive. If you take any of those things away, fire dies. But if you amplify those 3 things, fire acts as if it's just an out of control, raging flames 30 feet up into the air above what it's burning. You know, that used to be very unusual. Now it's kind of common to see 30-foot flames above a forest. Okay, I got another study talking about the land and sea temperatures. They say in this study that the temperatures are 0.07 degrees C or 0.13 Fahrenheit per decade up since 1880. But by 1981, temperatures were up 0.17 C and 0.31 degrees Fahrenheit per decade warmer. So you see, our warming is warming and going warmer faster, just like the CO2 and the fires, the amount of fires are going up and up and up. The 9 warmest years on record have happened since 2005. By 2020, temperatures are expected to be up by 0.5 C or 0.9 F warmer per decade than just the last small amount of measurement. Let's look at the chart and you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm talking about. One more thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit of politics. Let's first get into the Bernie and OTC thing. They obviously are working together. They seem to be on the same page pretty much. Now, the thing I don't like here in the U.S., I'm talking about U.S. politics here, OTC voted for the last military spending budget, which I just couldn't believe. How could someone on the left spend money on killing people? That's not what the left is about. So is OTC a left? Middle of the road? You tell me. Work good with Bernie Sanders, who's the only one on the left. Bloomberg, another billionaire, comes along. Haven't we had enough of billionaires? we're thinking of putting a billionaire in a Democratic spot. How's that going to be any different than putting Trump in the Republican spot? Honestly, people, I'm blown away by that would even happen. But that's not all. Have you heard the latest? Let me show you the picture here, the headline. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? We're seeing censorship on these are all private companies, so they can censor all they want. But it certainly isn't the way these outfits used to be, especially YouTube. I'm really disappointed in that. You know, Bernie Sanders would be the most left ticket that the U.S. has ever seen in a presidential campaign. It doesn't mean that they're completely on the left. I kind of suspect that Bernie is more of a corporatist than we think. At least he's talking right. He's talking as if we do have a chance of having some kind of health care. Now, who would do that to a tree? Huh. Humans, the things we do. Let's take a look at this. Humans, why do we do this type of thing? But I do think that we here in the U.S. would be so much better off if we had somebody on the left, and we had people in the Congress on the left, and we had people in governments on the left. I can't imagine what progress we could make if we had that. But that's all dreaming and wishful thinking, because common sense is out the window these days. That's old thinking. Nobody wants to think like that. You want to think stupid. Like that. Doing something like that to a tree. Let's see if we can't help it. Well, apparently it's a piece of wire. If I ever remember, I'll bring some wire cutters and cut it off of there. But until now, I've moved it down so that the tree can at least stop dying from that. Humans. There's something else. That person had nothing better to do than put a wire around a tree? Why? Well, it's all about the new way of thinking. Mean, vicious, lock him up, lock her up. All this stuff that's going on the planet is amazing. 1 degree of warming, basically, around the planet. Just say it, whether it's somewhere around there. And bushfires are up to 8 times hotter and more fierce than they were just a few years ago. And look at the people that are in the streets these days. I'm not going to call it unrest. I'm at unrest. That's one of those clear it up, clean it up type words, unrest. It's protesting. It's people who are upset at the situation. But that's gone up by a huge amount with such a small amount of warming. But it's nothing compared to what's coming. Oh, if we have 6 degrees of warming, can you imagine what fires will be like? For you doomers who are planning on doing nothing, just think of that. Think of 6 degrees warming in just a few years, and we're facing fires that will rip through a house in just minutes. I mean, we're just not thinking. We really aren't. We all have to do something, and do it now before it gets so bad. Well, I head off this way. Okay, late afternoon, heading back. Kind of tired of walking. Did a long walk today. So, with that, I certainly do appreciate all your guys' comments. I'm sorry that the comment section is so messed up. It takes people's comments sometimes and deletes them without the channel person being able to say whether they come or go. They just delete them. But don't let that stop you. Continue to post. Remember, this is a struggle to save our planet. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be fun and easy. I appreciate the ups and downs and the new subscribers and definitely your comments. And until next time.